Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number 27 of my favorite 30 drummers of all time. That's right, we're counting down our 30 favorites across all genres. Those guys that hit those drums, right? 30 days in the month, 30 favorites. Tough to eliminate great ones, right? But we've managed to pick out our 30 favorites, along with our three favorite albums featuring what we feel is their greatest drum performances. And then that one song that has our favorite drum performance from this particular drummer. So for today, we are going to talk about a guy who was in a pretty amazing trio. And I'd be hard pressed for anybody following this channel that didn't include this guy somewhere in their list. Let me get him here, bring him up in the Prezi. Bear with me a second, folks. This always takes forever to get going. He is the surviving member of this band, the only surviving member of this band. We welcome to the stage Mr. Carl Palmer. That's right. Yeah, the human dynamo, right? I think he's probably one of the original drummers, rock drummers that we called like the drum octopus. I remember like when I was young, much younger, a kid, they always talked about Carl Palmer as yeah, that octopus drummer, guy from ELP, right? And then of course also played with Asia, right? Lots of other appearances and things like that, but most known for those two bands specifically. But for me, his most masterful drum work occurred in the Emerson, Lake and Palmer trio, along with Keith Emerson and Mr. Greg Lake on keyboards, bass, and vocals. And yeah, I mean, as far as like picking albums, there's really no wrong answer here. So I had to go with, the three that I feel, even when I picked the three, I was like, I could have picked that, it's like, well, but you just got to go with them, right? So, yeah, an amazing drummer, so energetic, very aggressive and technical style that fit the bombasticness of ELP's, symphonic, classical inspired prog rock. So I'm going to go with my first album pick. It's got to be the original album, right? Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I'll hold it over here, right? Because still got him over here. Let me turn off the Prezi. We all know what Carl looks like. All right, here we go. So Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the debut album. You know, thought about that first Atomic Rooster album is playing is pretty incredible on there. But there's something about him, the first album with these other two guys. You got the Barbarian, Take a Pebble, the incredible Knife Edge is so good. The Three Fates, Tank is awesome, right? Just wildly energetic drums, and I think he was the perfect foil specifically for Keith Emerson because Keith Emerson, very, very busy keyboard player. You need a busy drummer to kind of combat that, not only to hold down the fort, but to just have this other alternative to this acrobatic organ, synthesizer, piano stuff going on, right? So I think perfect match between the two guys. And, the first album, sometimes I rank it as my favorite. I go back and forth between the first album and Brain Salad Surgery as my favorite ELP albums. They're both amazing. They're both amazing, as is my number two pick, which I think is probably the underrated gem of the catalog, and that is Trilogy. Trilogy is a masterpiece, absolute masterpiece. The Endless Enigma parts one and two. Listen to part one, man. He's doing some pretty insane stuff on there. You got Fuge on here. Then Hoedown, so good. Trilogy, Abaddon's Bolero. Oh, and what's great is he does, he's using timpani and, gongs and all sorts of percussion, all this kind of cool stuff, giving his drums this big orchestral sound. That's what's so great about Carl Palmer. Um, there's live in concert, right? Takes his shirt off and hits the gong, right? Yeah, it's like just he's a showman as well, which I think is so awesome. And because you have to be a showman in this band. Again, you got Keith Emerson, who is total showman. So Carl had to always step up his game. Greg was not really that type of guy, but these other two cats, absolutely for sure. Pick number three, yeah, it's got to be Brain Salad Surgery. Toccata, hello. I almost picked Toccata as my favorite drum performance as well. It was between that and the one I ultimately chose, but I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, I mean the Carnival Nine suite is just so good, and he's just all over the place on here. Again, this is really busy, complicated progressive rock, and you need a drummer that's going to contribute, especially when you don't have, for the most part, a guitar player. Greg Lake plays a little guitar here and there, but this music is all about bass, drums, and keyboards, right, and vocals. So you got to have that element to replace. The keyboards for the most part is a lead instrument replacing the guitar, but still you have all these little fills and kind of cool little things that Carl is doing because the music and the arrangements are so busy. You don't really miss a guitar for the most part in Emerson and Palmer's music. So really, really amazing stuff. My favorite jump performance, like I said, I had early on, Toccata was my pick because Toccata is just, I mean, there's all these little drum solos all throughout. It's just absolutely insane. But the more I went, the more I was kind of like, well, I could pick songs that he kind of solos throughout and stuff like that. Yeah, but I wanted to pick a song that I think he just helps cement the song because Emerson, of course, is doing his bonkers thing. But at the same time, he's adding all sorts of cool roles and things like that. So I'm going to go with Fanfare for the Common Man off of Works, the first Works album, of course, written and composed by Adam Copeland. Uh, what I really love about Fanfare for the Common Man is again, the whole song, he's just doing this kind of like, again, I'm not a drummer. That's hard for me to explain some of this stuff, but he's so busy, but it's not showy. But like if you stop listening to Emerson for a second, you listen to what Palmer's doing, it's pretty incredible stuff. And he gets to, and then like while Emerson is just going completely ape shit, right? Doing all this wacky synthesizer stuff, you got Carl trying to hold it down. Then once Emerson stops, he kind of picks up the pace a little bit. It's just so good. And it's a great rendition of that classic song, I think. And I believe their highest charting single, if I remember correctly. It's either that or Lucky Man, right? One of the two. And I'm pretty sure it's Fanfare for the Common Man. And, on this album too, I'm not an enormous fan of the Works albums because, it's just like all this solo stuff. But I think that Carl's stuff probably works the best. But then, I always go back to Fanfare and Pirates because those are the band tracks on the album. So, you got one side of Emerson, one side of Lake, one side of Palmer, and then you got the band side. Yeah, you want to hear the band playing. But, as we all know, getting to Works, these guys were completely fried from album, tour, lengthy tour. So by the time they got here, they were kind of like, all right, we're probably sick of each other and a little strapped for material. And then they pumped out Works 2 pretty fairly quickly there afterwards, right? Kind of the end was near, but man, those early albums, I tell you what, Pictures in an Exhibition is also absolutely amazing. And again, it's a, classical working, their rendition of that whole piece. But man, it's just amazing. And Palmer is so good on that. I was thinking about, geez, can I maybe pick that, the whole thing? But yeah, I'll bring it up now because we're talking about it. So anyway, that is my pick for today, Mr. Carl Palmer. Thanks for watching, everybody. List your pick down below and let us know what you think for Carl here on pick number 27. And we'll see you tomorrow for number 26. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together. It's chilly this morning. I probably should start wearing long sleeve shirts, but no, tomorrow it's going to be like 75 and Wednesday it's going to be like almost 80. Here we go. This back and forth weather nonsense. It's just been crazy. Anyway, where was I? Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. Thank you in advance for all your support there. It's always greatly appreciated. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. What do we got coming up this week? We got, of course, tomorrow is in the proxy. We've got a classic album war for you. The second albums from Genesis, Trespass, ELP, Tarkus, Yes, Time and a Word, and King Crimson in the Wake of Poseidon. So how will we vote? Got to tune in to see. So check it out tomorrow night in the proxy coming at you. We got Wednesday, of course, is a new album review day. It's What's Hot with Sea Tranquility Day. Should have a few for you this week. We got Friday morning at the Funhouse with Martin Popoff, part 2 of our Blue Oyster Cult songs, our favorite and least favorite, best and worst of Blue Oyster Cult's heavy songs. Got the professor's picks this week's as well on this week on Friday. And then Saturday is the review crew with Jamie Laszlo and company. And Sunday, I will be ranking the albums. What am I doing Sunday? I believe Sunday I am doing my top 10. Climax Blues Band? I think that's what I'm doing this week. Yes, I'm doing my top 10 favorite Climax Blues Band albums. I'm ranking my top 10. They got a lot of albums. I'm not doing all of them. But yeah, my top 10 favorites that'll be coming up on Sunday, ranking the albums, Climax Blues Band. And try and say that fast 5 times. Climax Blues Band, Climax Blues Band, Climax Blues Band, Climax, because it just, too much, too much. Anyway, a great band. So that's coming up on Sunday. So we got what do we got coming up on ranking the album shows? We've got Jamie Laszlo, Carola Preziosa, and I will be ranking the albums of the great sludge band, sludge, stoner, doom band, heavy psych band, Yob. For those of you metal fans, that's coming up. Grant Arthur and I at some point will be ranking the albums. There's only two of them, but hey, got to talk about some of these bands. Streets, Steve Walsh's cool hard rock AOR melodic rock band that he formed after leaving Kansas back in the early 80s. So we'll be doing Streets. What else is coming up? I will be ranking the albums of Burning Witches. I'm going to do a few like new wave of traditional heavy metal bands. So I got on the docket Burning Witches, Enforcer, and Haunt. Those are all coming up. We've got what else is in the not too distant future? I can never remember. There's just too many of them, folks. One of these days, I should give you guys a list of all the ones that are coming in the not too distant future. I'm going to do UFO Mammoth, another kind of band like Yob, a heavy psych doom stoner band that's also coming up in the weeks ahead. And geez, what else? Something else we're doing right before Thanksgiving. I can't remember. Anyway, there's more stuff happening. Can never remember them all because the list is long, but they're all coming eventually. So we'll see you soon here at More Stuff. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. Bye bye.